It's not that bad. It's really not that bad. You're being dramatic. Nah, I'm only joking. It's been around a month since I've seen Joker 2 Folie à Deux. Before going, I saw nearly every single negative review because I loved the first movie so much, and I did not let it ruin my time. I couldn't believe it, to be honest with you. The first Joker was a near perfect movie. How could it possibly be this bad? Its stories was one of the most creative adaptations of a villain I've ever seen. Let's just jump right into it. I'm going to talk about what I thought was good and what I thought was bad about Joker 2. First of all, yes, it's a musical, kind of. The split between musical scenes and just normal scenes is around 60-40 at best. If you don't like musicals, that's completely fair. I can see why people are not going to like that, considering the first movie had no musical element whatsoever. I think musicals are okay. I've gone to a lot with my girlfriend and I enjoy them, but I wouldn't call myself a theater head or anything like that. I thought the musical scenes were well done. I was pretty nervous about it at the beginning, I won't lie, but Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga were incredible during the musical performances and the entire movie. I was actually enthralled by Joaquin Phoenix's performance in the first Joker. Like, he scared the shit out of me. I can never look at him the same way ever again. He freaks me the fuck out in interviews now, even if he's only being himself. But that's because of how well he played that character. And that has not changed in this movie. The way he moves and the way he sings as Joker is just so good to watch. He like mesmerizes you. He's really good at singing and he's really good at like dancing as well. Lady Gaga's performance was unreal too, but she's a really good performer. That wasn't a surprise at all. I've seen a lot of people reviewing the movie and kind of saying, well, the movie is rubbish. Like, oh, it's so bad, it's so bad. Oh, but the acting was unbelievable. And I think, well, why are you like just saying, oh yeah, the acting was unbelievable, but the thing is rubbish? It's kind of like, well, that surely should add to a movie. You know what I mean? For me, the incredible performance and the incredible performance of the musical scenes really did add to the movie. Like, yeah, if Joaquin Phoenix couldn't sing or couldn't dance, then obviously the musical scenes would be fucking rubbish. But he can dance and he can sing, and so can Lady Gaga. Which means for me, I loved it. But don't get me wrong, there were one or two songs I did not like. I think they did really well. The first two songs, they had me. I was like, oh, this is really good, because I was really nervous. I was like, if I go into this and the first song is crap, I'm gonna hate the musical scenes. But the first 2 or 3 songs were really, really good. The one song I hated was when he was singing down the phone. That was really weird. I didn't like enjoy that at all. But you're not gonna like every song on an album now, are you? For my next point, we have to go back to the first movie. In Joker 1, Arthur is trying to be an entertainer. He does a lot of dancing and performing, as we know. The most well-known scenes from that movie is when he's dancing as Joker, because they're really meaningful. On the stairs, in the bathroom, he dances after every single murder that he causes, except for his mother. So I always felt like the dancing and the performing elements of that movie connected well into the musical aspect of the second movie, because I think they're connected. The question is, why did they make it a musical? My answer being, well, we saw in the first movie that he was extremely delusional and he did a lot of performing. I thought it was brilliant progression from the first movie. We get to see more of what goes on in Arthur Fleck's head. Not to mention that the musical sets are also amazing. The whole kind of musical scenes are extravagant. They're so cool to watch. The first film focuses a lot on Arthur's delusion, but we only kind of realize it at the very end that nearly half of the movie is all delusion and that none of it actually happened. But in Joker 2, we're basically told instantly that it's all in his head. All the musical stuff is going on in his head. So yeah, that's my explanation for why it's a musical. I think it's good. I thought it was really good. I know some people are going to hate it, but I thought it worked. I thought it was a great idea and they executed it pretty well. Now, about the story. It was okay. It's continuing on from one of the best stories ever told, in my opinion. In one way, it's kind of like, yeah, a lot on its shoulders, you know, it has to be as good as this. But on the other hand, it's like, how could you fuck it up? It's such a good story, you know? It's definitely not as good as the first one, but I don't think they ruined it by any means. The whole story is based around Arthur Fleck's trial after he murdered all of those people in the first film. At the beginning, we spend a lot of time with him in Arkham Asylum, where he's basically being bullied by Brendan Gleeson. Brendan Gleeson also had a fantastic performance. They're looking for the death penalty for Arthur And the whole kind of defense is that, oh, Arthur Fleck didn't kill these people. It was the Joker. It was the Joker killed these people. They're trying to plead for insanity, basically. Now, here's where the story really divided people. This is how I perceive it. I took it that Arthur Fleck created the Joker in his head to compensate or to escape the brutal reality of his life. It was a coping mechanism, essentially. A great example of this is when he first kills those lads in the subway and then he starts dancing in the like run down bathroom on the street. For me, that scene was like the Joker introducing himself to Arthur and like being one with Arthur, that kind of way. Every time he killed someone, he was the Joker. The only time he wasn't was when he killed his mom. But in the second movie, they actually don't know he killed his mom. They only know about the other murders he did. There's no way around it. He was insane. He was crazy because of the trauma he experienced as a kid. I saw some of the reviews saying that like his defense didn't make any sense whatsoever, but I thought it did. I thought it made perfect sense that yes, it was the Joker that killed him, you know, these people, it wasn't Arthur, you know. I thought that's a pretty reasonable defense. I thought that's what the whole movie was about, the first one. Or maybe I'm just stupid, I don't know, but that's how I perceived it anyway. The biggest complaint about the story was the ending. And look, I completely agree. It definitely didn't need to end like that. It actually pissed me off, to be honest. It didn't ruin the entire story for me, but I was kind of like, man, why did they do that? I won't spoil it for you, but I'll give it to you, alright? It wasn't that good, the ending, but it didn't ruin it for me. In this movie, we focus a lot more on the character of Arthur Fleck than we do the Joker. And I don't think people like that. Of course, I get it. My favorite scenes in Joker 1 was when Arthur was the Joker, but I like the direction they went down. We got to see Arthur Fleck more as a human being rather than this villain that he made up in his head. Honestly, the one time he is the Joker in a real life sense is when he like puts on the costume in the trial. I thought that was very like lackluster, man. He kind of like took the piss out of Joker completely there. Him as a Joker in his head was a lot better, and it really hammered down on his delusion. Then there's the scene with Gary Puddles. That was the best scene by a long way. It really showed the aftermath of what one of Arthur's killings did to another person. The roles were completely reversed in this scene. In the first movie, Gary Puddles has no control when Arthur is murdering his good friend, and when he like can't open the door and he has to ask Arthur to open it even though he's after murdering someone. And this one, Gary Puddles has a lot more control, just being like, you ruined my life, you've completely ruined everything. He was kind of on the high ground then, you know, and I like that. I like that dynamic of we actually get to see a bit of like reality of, I know the movie kind of goes down the road of his killings are justified, that kind of way, but then you see the other half of it and you're like, well, Gary Puddles can't work anymore, he can't do anything, you know. It was a strong scene, it was really good. So yeah, of course, look, a lot of the story I didn't enjoy, but I enjoyed most of it. Like, I didn't let those few bad scenes ruin like a pretty good movie for me. I had fun going back to Arthur Fleck's story and expanding on his life. And that's all that matters. I'm not here to change anyone's mind, alright? I can see why people wouldn't enjoy it. Main reason being the musical. Did they have to go down this route? No, of course they didn't. The first movie was unbelievable without any elements of a musical. But it definitely touched on performing and dancing a small bit in the first movie. And that's where I think they connect well. The ending was ass. It's perfectly fair for some people to not enjoy this movie. But did it deserve the beatdown that it got? I don't think so. I'm guessing most people, when they heard it was a musical, they immediately just said no way and didn't even give it a chance. The first film was amazing. The second film was okay. Let me know your thoughts. Did anyone enjoy this movie at all? Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Have a good day. Goodbye.